Now that we have the lamp, we're going to generate the wire. I'll turn my walls and floor on for reference. And I'm going to scale the lamp down. I'll shift select the 3 pieces of geometry. I'll hit Command G to group. And I'll name it in my channel box. And now I'm going to scale it to a proportion I might want. This is pretty subjective at this point. I'll go to an orthographic view, hitting 4 on the keyboard, and A to see the entire scene for all. I'll hit R to scale, and I'll make it smaller, and then just put it where I'd like it to be in the context of the room. Now we're going to put a plate against the wall that will be texture mapped eventually as an outlet. And we'll start with a simple polygon. So I'll go to my orthographic views, and the orthographic view in which I'd like it to be against the wall, in this case I'm doing it against the window wall, I'll create a polygon cube. Going to create polygon primitive cube. I'll drag the shape I'd like to start with, and I'll go to my perspective view now. Hitting 4 on the keyboard, I'll now give it a little thickness, and I need just enough to get started on the modeling process. Once the shape is created, I'll hit F on the keyboard with it selected so I can zoom in on it. Now this is a real easy thing to do to make a beveled plate that would represent our outlet geometry. I'll right click, choose face, and I'll select this face. This will allow me to change the thickness, and then with the scale tool I can also put a bit of a bevel around the perimeter. And you can see now I have the makings of an outlet, and once we create our texture map in Photoshop, we'll apply it. I'm going to go to my top view and put this against the wall where I'd like it to be. I'll hit F on the keyboard once it's in the general area and place it against the surface of the wall. I'm going to center my pivot and delete by type history. So now we have our lamp and an outlet. Next we'll generate the wire. I'm going to go to my top view to do so, and I'll hit A on the keyboard. Now we're going to use the CV Curve tool. In my top view, I'll hold down the space bar, create, Curve Tools, CV Curve tool. And I'm just going to draw kind of a meandering path from the lamp shape itself over to the outlet. Now as I get near the outlet, I'm going to drop a few extra points because we have to generate the wire, and then we'll have to lift it up to reach the outlet against the wall. It's always easier to add more points and delete afterwards. Now I'll hit return, and I'll go back to where the path began at the lamp shape itself. We're going to create a CV circle. I'll hold down my space bar, going to create NURBS primitives circle, and I'll just click and drag a circle. The size is insignificant and unimportant because we can always scale it afterwards, and the history will update for the entire wire. Now I don't want it to be flat in my top view. I need to turn it on. In this case I'm going to turn mine on the z-axis. That circle has to be perpendicular to the path, which is horizontally on the xz axis. So you can see that it's not quite what I want. In Z, rotate in the channel box, I will make it 90%. So if we were to look at this now, in our perspective view, you can see now there's the circle, and here's my path. So it looks as if the path could go right through that little circle. Again, we want a 90-degree perpendicular angle to the path itself. I'll select the circle, hold down the Shift key, and click on my path. And I'll know that I have the right order because the path should be selected second. It will be green. Now, in order to make this into some sort of geometry, we have to hold down the space bar and once again go to Surfaces. And this is going to be a function called Extrude. I'm going to go to the attributes for it. And in the attributes, I'll choose Edit, Reset Settings, and I'll click Apply. And the results will be something like this. Now I need to edit this so that it comes from the outlet. The first thing I'm going to do though is I'm going to change the thickness of this wire. To do so, I need to select that little circle that we used to generate the wire with the path. So I'll zoom in, select the little circle, hit R on the keyboard, and I'll start to drag to the left to make it thinner. And again, this is very subjective, so I've got something like this at the moment. Now I'm going to address the end where the outlet is. And there's two ways I can go about this. I could start with the path if I wanted to. I'll select the path, right click and choose Control Vertex. And now if I wanted to, I could grab these and I could start to move them up where I'd like them to be. And I'm kind of playing with this gradually to get the curvature I want. I have pretty much what I want now after some playing around with this. And once I get the texture on, I also have the option to edit the shape itself. So now if I were to go into my wire, I can start to select some of the actual vertices that comprise this, and I can refine it once I have the texture in. So we should have something like this once we've created these elements. And there's our lamp and wire.